South Africa is home to some of the most chilling haunted locations, and among them, the top 10 haunted hospitals stand out as eerie reminders of the past. These medical institutions, steeped in history, are not only known for their tragic stories, but for the restless spirits that seem to linger long after their doors closed. 1. Kempton Park Hospital, Gauteng. They say time stopped at Kempton Park Hospital on Christmas Eve, 1996. One moment it was filled with doctors, nurses, and patients. Then suddenly, silence. The hospital shut down overnight. No official explanation. Medical records were left behind. Surgical tools still lay on trays, and beds remained unmade, as if everyone simply vanished. But the building didn't stay empty. Locals report flickering lights inside, decades after the power was cut. Paranormal investigators swear they've heard hospital machinery beeping, even though nothing works. Some even captured shadowy figures moving in the halls, one resembling a doctor still doing his rounds. Kempton Park Hospital stands frozen in time, a relic of forgotten lives, but their spirits still very much awake. 2. King Edward VIII Hospital, Durban. At first glance, King Edward VIII Hospital looks like any other aging medical facility, but those who work the night shift know better. Whispers drift through empty corridors, calling out names no one remembers. Nurses report icy breezes brushing past them, even with all windows shut. Some refuse to enter Ward 8A after dark. It's where an old matron, long deceased, is said to still patrol, scolding staff with unseen hands. Patients speak of a tall man in white standing silently at their bedside, only to vanish when lights are switched on. Built in the early 20th century, the hospital has seen decades of suffering, death, and perhaps something that never left. Staff often joke, "We're never alone here." But behind the laughter is a quiet truth. They're not. 3. Valkenberg Psychiatric Hospital, Cape Town. Tucked between trees and mountain mist lies Valkenberg Psychiatric Hospital, a place where reality and madness have blurred for over a century. Built in the late 1800s, it once held society's most tormented souls, many of whom never left. Staff whisper of screams echoing from locked, empty rooms. Patients speak of figures watching them from corners where no one stands. One nurse reported being followed by footsteps in the East Wing. When she turned, the corridor was empty, yet the footsteps kept coming. The oldest building, known as Ward C, is said to be cursed. Lights flicker, shadows move, and a woman in a hospital gown is often seen staring out the top window, though no patients are housed there anymore. Paranormal teams have captured EVPs, cold spots, even a child's laughter where no children are allowed. Valkenberg doesn't just treat the disturbed. It holds onto their echoes, looping through time, waiting for someone else to hear their cries. 4. Tera Psychiatric Hospital, Johannesburg. Behind high fences and thick ivy walls lies Tera Psychiatric Hospital, a facility meant to bring healing, but some say it hides something far more sinister. Founded in the 1940s, its long corridors echo with secrets from a darker time. Nurses report lights switching on and off by themselves, bed sheets tugged by invisible hands, and the sound of someone weeping in the locked isolation ward. One former patient spoke of a woman with long black hair who stood silently in the corner of his room every night, vanishing only at sunrise. Staff avoid the West Wing after dusk, where doors creak open on their own, and a cold, heavy presence makes breathing difficult. Some say it's the spirit of a former patient who died during electroshock therapy, a woman who now wanders the halls, searching for peace she never found. At Tera, the line between sanity and nightmare is razor thin, and sometimes it cuts deep. 5. Somerset Hospital, Cape Town. Standing in the shadow of Table Mountain, Somerset Hospital is one of South Africa's oldest medical institutions, and perhaps its most haunted. Built in the 1800s, its Victorian halls once treated soldiers, plague victims, and the dying. Now, some say the dead never left. Night staff speak of a nurse in an old-fashioned uniform who walks the corridors, tending to patients no longer alive. Footsteps echo through empty wards, and call buttons light up from long-abandoned rooms. One doctor claimed he followed a crying woman into a locked surgical theater, only to find it completely empty and freezing cold. The hospital chapel is especially eerie. Visitors report sudden dizziness, whispers during prayer, and the faint scent of antiseptic where no cleaning has been done in years. Though parts of Somerset remain in use, the older wing stands still, watching and waiting. Some say the past is preserved within its walls, not in history books, but in restless spirits who refuse to be forgotten. 6. Charlotte Maxek Hospital. Once the pride of South African healthcare, Johannesburg General Hospital, now known as Charlotte Maxek, carries a chilling history buried beneath its sterile halls. Built in the early 20th century, it has witnessed decades of pain, death, and desperation. Staff report strange cold spots in the ICU, places where machines malfunction, and temperatures drop without warning. Cleaners refuse to enter the old pediatric ward alone, claiming to hear children laughing and running through the empty halls. One doctor swore he saw a woman in a blood-soaked gown standing in the surgical theater, only to blink and find her gone. Elevators stop on floors no one requested, and a ghostly figure is often seen pacing the 6th floor at night, always near the window where a nurse once jumped to her death. Some say the hospital heals the body, but damages the soul. And for those who stay too long, it's not just sickness that lingers, it's something darker. 7. Westcoppies Psychiatric Hospital, Pretoria. Hidden behind iron gates and overgrown gardens, Westcoppies Psychiatric Hospital stands as a relic of forgotten minds and untold horrors. Built in the late 1800s, on what was once a graveyard, the hospital carries a heavy silence that unnerves even the most seasoned staff. Whispered legends speak of shadow figures lurking at the end of dimly lit hallways and cell doors that slam shut without warning. Nurses claim they've heard guttural screams echo from the underground tunnels, long sealed and supposedly empty. One guard quit after seeing a pale man in a hospital gown staring blankly at the wall, then walking straight through it. The old seclusion wing is the most feared. Lights flicker, air turns ice cold, and time seems to slow. Paranormal investigators believe the building holds residual energy from years of mistreatment and misery. At Westcoppies, the line between madness and the supernatural is dangerously thin. And some say it's not the patients you should fear, but the ones who never checked out. 8. Addington Hospital, Durban. Overlooking the Indian Ocean, Addington Hospital is more than just a place of healing. It's a maze of lingering shadows and restless souls. Built in the 1800s and expanded over time, it now includes vast, aging wings that many believe are haunted. The old maternity ward, closed off for years, is said to echo with the cries of unseen infants and the soft lullabies of a ghostly nurse. Staff report elevators that move on their own, stopping at floors no one called. One night guard claimed to follow a woman in a white dress into a stairwell, only to find nothing but darkness and the overwhelming scent of old antiseptic. The rooftop, once used for breaks, is now avoided entirely after rumors spread of a figure standing on the edge, staring out to sea, then vanishing. Even during daylight, Addington feels heavy, like it remembers every final breath taken within its walls. For those who walk its halls alone, the hospital offers more than echoes. It offers company you never asked for. 9. Cecilia Makiwan Hospital, Mandansang. Deep in the Eastern Cape lies Cecilia Makiwani Hospital, a place built for healing, but wrapped in whispers of the dead. Locals speak of a nurse who roams the halls in silence, dressed in a crisp white uniform from another era, one who is said to have died tragically on shift, yet still checks patients to this day. In the older wings of the hospital, staff report flickering lights, sudden chills, and call buttons lighting up in rooms that haven't housed a patient in years. One orderly claimed he heard footsteps behind him, only to turn and see no one, just the scent of hospital-grade alcohol and old flowers lingering in the air. A former patient swears she saw a child in the corridor late at night, barefoot and crying, but no children were admitted that week. Some believe the hospital sits on cursed land. Others say it's simply heavy with the grief of decades past. But one thing's certain. At Cecilia Makiwane, not all patients ever check out. 10. Conrad Hospital, Cape Town. Once a bustling medical complex, Conrad Hospital now stands as a memory draped in decay. And something far more chilling. Abandoned for years before its demolition began, the hospital gained infamy, not just for its silence, but for what whispered within it. Urban explorers spoke of rooms still filled with rusted equipment, patient files scattered on the floor, and eerie children's drawings on the walls. But what truly unnerved them were the sounds. Footsteps echoing in empty wards, doors slamming shut with no wind, and voices calling out names in the dark. One man reported seeing a nurse walking through the corridor, only to watch her disappear through a solid wall. The old psychiatric wing was the worst, said to be haunted by former patients who endured isolation, neglect, and worse. Locals warned, never enter after midnight. Though the structure is now being redeveloped, many believe its foundations still hold echoes of the pain it once knew. At Conrad, the walls may be coming down, but the spirits, they're still standing. Whether abandoned or still in use, these haunted hospitals hold stories of pain, loss, and the supernatural. For those brave enough to visit, they offer more than just medical history. They offer encounters with the past that refuse to be forgotten. Dare to enter? The spirits are waiting.